In yesterday's video, we defeated the Whiteleg's advanced scouts, we disarmed the bear traps on the bridge, we destroyed the Yaoguai in the cave, and we retrieved the map to the grand staircase. We now have a difficult choice: to side with Joshua Graham and take the battle to the Whitelegs, or to side with Daniel and evacuate the Sorrows from Zion. Today, I'll show you what happens if we choose to evacuate the Sorrows. Going to Daniel, we can tell him that we secured the valley and retrieved the map to the grand staircase.
I appreciate it. Well, that's it. This is all we need. Now all that's left is to quietly pack up and try to get out of here without being noticed. That's assuming that Joshua won't try to stop me. And that he hasn't talked you into fighting the Whitelegs despite what I've said. Don't worry, I don't hold it against you. You're an outsider. Fighting seems like the practical solution. I'll tell you again, there's more at stake.
We complete the quest, we earn the achievement In a Foreign Land, and it's here where we reach a point of no return. If we have not completed any optional quests, like Waking Clouds or Follows Chalks, then after this point, we can't go back and do them. We can always say, I'm not ready, I need some time to think about this.
Even our Lord had doubts. Think it over, but listen to your heart. And do it quickly. We don't have much time.
But when we're ready, we can go back to Daniel.
Unless you and Joshua have any objections, I'd like to start evacuating the Sorrows. I'm going to need your help, so say your piece.
We have two choices: to agree with Joshua or to agree with Daniel. For now, let's agree with Daniel and say, don't worry, I think leaving Zion is for the best.
It may be. I hope it is. To tell the truth, if something goes wrong, more Sorrows could die in the escape than in Joshua's proposed attack. Even knowing that, it's a risk I have to take. With your help and Joshua's, even if we're attacked, we can defend the Sorrows and escape. We'll be traveling at night in small groups across the valley. With luck, the Whitelegs won't know what's happened until the next morning. But if the Whitelegs realize what's happening, Joshua and I will need you to help us escape. Don't hold back. I promise you, the Whitelegs won't. Once our path is clear, I'll give you everything you need to get back to the Mojave. But the Pine Creek Tunnel must be collapsed behind us. It's the only way to delay the Whitelegs' pursuit long enough for us to get a head start. Good luck, and may God be with us.
With that, the screen goes dark and we appear in a river near the Narrows. Here, Joshua Graham meets us.
Daniel must have made it to the tunnel by now, but there are Sorrows all over the valley. We have to help them and get Daniel out of here.
We can choose to go by ourselves or bring Joshua Graham with us as a companion. It's far more interesting to have him around, so we'll say, all right, let's go, Joshua.
Right.
Joshua joins us as a companion and gives us the Way of the Canaanite perk. With this perk, any .45 caliber auto pistol we use has less spread and is twice as likely to score critical hits. I typically use revolvers because I spec'd into cowboy with my perks, but since this is my only opportunity to use this perk, I'm going to go ahead and use a .45 pistol for the rest of this video. Now, even though Joshua is a companion, he doesn't do many of the things companions do. We can't talk with him.
The time for talk is past. The Lord's work must be done.
We can't trade with him.
No thanks.
But he does join us in battle. But what a disaster! I thought the point of this evacuation was to escape under cover of darkness, to sneak to the grand staircase, and to leave before the Whitelegs could find out what was happening. But we discovered that nothing went right. Joshua Graham tells us that the Sorrows are scattered all over the valley. And taking a look at our quest log, we see 3 optional quests where we have to go and rescue the Sorrows. The Whitelegs have captured some Sorrows and have them imprisoned at a jail cell at Ranger Substation Osprey. They've taken and fortified their position on top of a key bridge, and to rub salt on the wounds of the Sorrows, they've laid siege to a Sorrows tribal burial ground. We need to go rescue the Sorrows. Now we can skip these optional quests and go right to the tunnel that Daniel wants us to collapse after the Sorrows evacuate Zion. But if we do, we drastically alter the ending. Additionally, we can't fast travel at this stage in the quest. So we appear by the Narrows and we have to run south all the way to Ranger Substation Osprey. As we approach, we see a number of lights appear on our compass, and rounding a corner, a scout sees us. The Whitelegs rush down the hill to attack.
Prepare to meet your maker. You call down the wrath.
With the Whitelegs dead, we can run up to the ranger station, unlock the gate, and release the Sorrows. The Sorrows stand up and run off with not much to say. Now we need to deal with the Whitelegs who are defiling the Sorrows' burial ground. Since we can't fast travel, it's a bit of a run. We have to run all the way across the valley, and we'll likely run through quite a few Whitelegs along the way. However, once we cross the river and arrive at the burial ground, we find Sorrow's tribals waiting nearby, preparing to attack. We can talk to one of them named Dancing Flame.
You friend the Sorrows, yes? Together we smash Whitelegs that defile holy places, yes?
We can pass a 75 speech check to say, just get out of here, you're no match for hardened Whiteleg warriors.
Because you're a friend to Sorrows? Very well. We go. Angry Ghost will do for Whitelegs.
If we choose that option, the Sorrows walk away, sparing their lives, and we complete this optional quest. This is the only way to do so without killing the Whitelegs in the burial grounds. But this was not a satisfying resolution to me, so we can explore some of the other options. We can say, no, Dancing Flame, I smash Whitelegs alone. You stay here so you not get dead.
Since you are friend to Sorrows, we go. But you kill Whitelegs.
With that, they stay here under these trees, allowing us the freedom to walk in by ourselves and destroy the Whitelegs. This will spare the Sorrows' lives. Another option, which has the same result, is we can say, just wait here for a few minutes, don't do anything crazy.
We wait, but not forever.
Alternatively, we can encourage Dancing Flame and the other Sorrows here to join us and to attack the Whitelegs. Sure, whatever, Dancing Flame, we go smash Whitelegs.
We go.
If we choose this option, Dancing Flame and the Sorrows here under the tree charge the burial ground. However, since the entire point of this evacuation is to save as many Sorrows tribals' lives as possible, if either of these two tribesmen die during this attack, we fail the quest. The Whitelegs attack, and the trickiest part of this encounter for me was refraining from hitting the Sorrows tribals with friendly fire. All of these Sorrows, since they use their Yagwai fists, do melee damage, so I had to do a lot of maneuvering around to make sure that I just hit the Whitelegs. But once the Whitelegs are done, the Sorrows run off without a word. The burial ground itself consists of a number of beds elevated above the ground. Upon these beds are the remains of Sorrows tribals that have died over the past couple hundred years. We find a few clay urns with minor loot, but nothing really worth taking. And we probably shouldn't take anything anyway because, well, I mean, it is a burial ground. But with that, we have two of the optional quests completed. The final one is to clear the bridge that leads to the evacuation tunnel. Now, we could go right up to the bridge and just open fire, but close to this burial ground, on the opposite side of the river, if we follow it south, we find a ledge overlooking the bridge that we can use to snipe at these Whitelegs. I'm not using the best tool for this job right now, but with my survivalist rifle in hand, I was able to eradicate these Whitelegs on the bridge and complete this optional portion of the quest. Now, truth be told, this particular quest is hard to fail. To get to the tunnel at all, you have to go right through here. So to fail this quest, you have to either sneak through or run through quickly to avoid these Whitelegs. With the tribals dead, we have one task remaining: to rendezvous with Daniel at the tunnel entrance and then to blow the entrance of the tunnel as the Sorrows escape. But as we walk down the road, we see that we're too late. We're coming up behind the Whitelegs. The Whitelegs have arrived at the tunnel before us, which means that Daniel and the Sorrows are currently under siege. We come upon a few battles raging between the Sorrows and the Whitelegs, and when we finally reach the tunnel, we see Daniel fighting furiously to defend the Sorrows. As we approach, we are addressed by the leader of the Whitelegs, Salt-Upon-Wounds.
Foolish Outman. You best Whitelegs you think. By my spear you die!
we can resolve this in one of two ways. We can choose a non-violent resolution, but we have to pass a 75 speech check to say, wait, there's no reason this has to end in bloodshed.
You speak. I listen. Kill you. Maybe I not. Maybe.
We then have three choices. We can intimidate Salt-Upon-Wounds by saying, I've already crushed your warriors. Retreat now and rebuild your tribe or die in obscurity.
I go, but rebuild my tribe and come we back stronger than before.
Or we can choose a more poetic option and say, your power is broken. You cannot hope to prevail here. Leave this valley in peace.
We leave, but always fight. Whitelegs, we strong warriors for Caesar.
Or we can appeal to the man's pride and try to convince him that the Sorrows are not worthy of his time. We can say Daniel and the Sorrows are weak prey, not fit for such mighty warriors.
Sorrows are weak. We go, find true warriors to test us.
If we choose any of those options, the Whitelegs immediately stop the attack, turn around, and run. Now, the other option was to choose the violent path and to say, let's end this then.
Ha! Yes! End!
The ending of which is predictable. Salt-Upon-Wounds becomes hostile, and Joshua and the courier attack.
Die where you stand!
No matter how we decide to respond to Salt-Upon-Wounds, whether we let him live or whether we kill him, at the end of the game, we learn the following.
After the Whitelegs drove the Sorrows from Zion, they celebrated by destroying all traces of the valley's former inhabitants. They appealed to the Legion for assimilation, but were denied. Their failure to eradicate the new Canaanites in Grand Staircase and farther up the Colorado had not gone unnoticed. The Whitelegs made a half-hearted effort to find the new Canaanites, but were driven off by dead horses trained in the ways of Joshua Graham. The Whitelegs lost all hope of joining the Legion and disintegrated into a number of petty raiding bands, leaving Zion Valley a polluted cistern.
But now that the Whitelegs are gone, we can go to Daniel and tell him that we're ready to blow the tunnel.
Please, have you done everything you can for the Sorrows? Are they all accounted for?
Now, if we haven't completed all three of the optional quests, we have one more opportunity to turn back and do so before we complete this DLC. We can say, no, not yet.
Hurry. There isn't any time to waste. We have to get out of here and collapse the tunnel behind us.
Once we're ready, we can go back to Daniel.
Please, is it time? Is everyone safe? We have to go.
And if we say that we're ready to go, but we haven't completed all three optional quests, Daniel says this.
You let them die. They needed you. Why didn't you help them? Never mind, I don't have time for this. Take the map. Just take it and go.
And we decide the fate of the Sorrows tribe.
Daniel evacuated the Sorrows from Zion, but due to the courier's neglect, the Whitelegs butchered many along the way. Those who survived barely reached Grand Staircase, but once there, the dead horses and new Canaanites helped them settle. The unfamiliarity of their new surroundings and the loss of loved ones evoked a terrible and lasting grief among the Sorrows. For 2 generations, many would die still lamenting the loss of Zion.
However, if we did everything we could to help Daniel and the Sorrows and we completed all 3 optional quests, when we tell him that we're ready to blow the tunnel, he says,
You've done more than I could have ever hoped for. Thank you. And may God protect you for all of your days. Goodbye.
And we learn the following.
Daniel succeeded in leading the Sorrows out of Zion, as he had wanted to do from the start. The courier protected the Sorrows during the evacuation, ensuring that most reached their destination unharmed. Over the weeks and months to come, Daniel would see to the Sorrows' resettlement in Grand Staircase. Their adjustment to their new home was not without difficulty, But eventually, the Sorrows came to accept the loss of Zion.
After telling Daniel that we are ready, Daniel and the Sorrows disappear from the game. Joshua Graham leaves our company, and we lose his perk. We learn that Daniel has placed some C4 explosives around the mouth of the Pine Creek Tunnel, and he's given us both the detonator and a map of the path leading out of Zion. This leaves us with one task remaining: to blow the entrance to Pine Creek Tunnel. With that, we earn the achievement, May My Hand Forget Its Skill, and we get the following ending to this DLC.
And so it was that the conflict between the New Canaanites and the Whitelegs was finally resolved. The courier's involvement had tipped the scale, shifting the fragile balance of power.
Having helped Daniel and the Sorrows escape from Zion, the Dead Horses returned to their home at Dead Horse Point. The tribe continued to learn from the New Canaanites, and over many years built a flourishing community along the banks of the Colorado. Though the tribe's bond would endure, it was Joshua Graham's legend the Dead Horses would revere, not the tenets of New Canaan's faith.
Already weakened by several seasons of bad trading, the Happy Trails Caravan Company was initially discouraged by the results of its expedition. The fate of New Canaan and the evacuation of the Sorrows from Zion made the prospect of trading seem fruitless. When Daniel told his family about the exploits of Happy Trails employee the courier, however, New Canaan decided to repay the company's kindness. Twice per year, New Canaanites made the dangerous journey west to trade with the company in the city of New Reno. The Happy Trails Caravan Company could not survive on such trading alone, but the New Canaanites' generosity made tough times go easier.
After leading the Sorrows from their home in Zion to safety in Grand Staircase, Daniel continued to wonder if he'd made the right choice. He spent his life evangelizing the beliefs of his people to a new generation of young men and women, as his ancestors had for centuries before him. He was happy with his family. But for the rest of his life, there were nights when he awoke with sadness to find he had been dreaming of Zion.
And with that, the courier walked out of the history of the tribes of Zion and back to the gathering storm of the Mojave Wasteland.
Now, as always, there is a unique ending if we just decide to murder everybody. If we choose to kill Joshua Graham and Daniel, to leave Zion, we have to go back to the Sorrows camp where we find a map out of Zion in a pot near Daniel's bed. After killing them, if we leave without destroying the Whitelegs, we get this ending.
With Daniel dead, the Whitelegs soon overran Zion and drove the Sorrows and Dead Horses from the valley. The Whitelegs plundered all of the pre-war buildings the Sorrows had marked off limits. Their squalor an affront to Zion's natural beauty. By year's end, little trace remained that the Sorrows had ever made the valley their home.
Having revered Joshua Graham as a living legend for so many years, the Dead Horses found it difficult to accept his death. New Canaanite missionaries sought to remain in contact with the tribe, but lacking Joshua's authority, their influence dwindled. Still, as an expression of enduring respect for their lost spiritual leader, the Dead Horses helped protect the lands where New Canaanites settled. As generations passed, the Dead Horses came to worship a spirit of the land, a harsh spirit of divine justice. They called it Joshua.
Already weakened by several seasons of bad trading, the Happy Trails Caravan Company was devastated by the failure of its expedition. The New Canaanites never re-established ties with the caravan. Their experiences with outsiders near the Great Salt Lake and in Zion had been far too negative. Within 6 months, the Happy Trails Caravan Company was bankrupted and dissolved.
After a long and troubled life, Joshua Graham finally found rest in Zion. In the end, his unswerving militancy had accomplished what the NCR's finest sharpshooters and Caesar's wrath could not. The new Canaanites took comfort in the belief that their brother's soul would again dwell in Zion at the end of days.
In the shadow of Daniel's death, those sorrows who survived the assault on Zion Valley mourned his loss, as was their custom. Word of Daniel's passing reached the new Canaanites several weeks later. They prayed that their brother would be well received by their Lord.
When the ending slides are done, we appear back at the entrance to the Northern Passage, and in a chest on the ground, we find all the armor and weapons that every major character we met in this game once wore. I'll go through all of the loot in this chest in a separate video at the end of this series, so stay tuned for that. But what are your thoughts on this ending to Honest Hearts? Do you think that this was better for everyone? That with it we save the most lives? Be sure that you don't miss tomorrow's video when I show off the violent ending to this DLC, Joshua Graham's ending. The ending where we bring the fight to the Whitelegs. Thanks for watching, everybody. I publish a new video 6 days a week. We are nearing the end of this series, and we will have explored every corner of this DLC by the week's end. If you like this series and you want to support me in a more personal way, consider becoming one of my patrons on Patreon. Patreon subscribers gain access to a private channel on my Discord server, as well as a bunch of other cool Oxhorn perks. But more importantly, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning with a brand new video.